Good morning. We're live on YouTube and we're live throughout the world. And this morning, it's Friday morning on the Daily Huddle, and every Friday, as you know,
Good morning.
we go for it and create a world where leadership and business meet inside of a space called My Mind, Your Mind. So the question of the day is, how to unleash high-performing teams, learn the number one secret. Well, the number one secret comes in many parts. The first part is this. When it comes to teams, I am a team member, you are. And the first person to unleash is you. The first person to unleash is me. And there is no one capable of unleashing me except me. And until I unleash me as a leader, I can't unleash others. So to unfold and peel the onion on this number one secret for unleashing high-performing teams, I'm going to do three things. One, I want to share with you a construct I learned. Then I'm going to share with you my experience as someone who's been on teams. That particular experience I'll share with you. I'm not too proud of, but I'll share it anyway. And then we'll come back and wrap it up, so to speak, to look and see how grasping this secret, quote unquote, that's not so secret, will leave you capable of unleashing yourself as a team member and also as a leader and founder and CEO of a company, or even just someone who's in an intimate relationship and you want to unleash that team. That's the promise of this conversation. So get on the edge of your seats and let's begin. The first space to look is that in life, I want something when you want something. There are three spaces in which I live, in which you live. The first space is the world of what I want, the result, the outcome, and all of the obstacles that are in the way of me getting that. So you get that world, right? You can picture yourself wanting a new job. You can picture yourself wanting a new relationship. You can picture yourself being in the bowels of a corporation wanting to be promoted. You can picture the world of what I want, what you want, and all the obstacles that may be in the way. That's the first part. The second world that we traffic in when we're looking to unleash ourselves and unleash others is the world of the people and the world of the structures that make it possible or sometimes impossible to reach what I want, to get the results I want. Now, as part of unveiling number one secret to unleashing teams, there's this third world that leaders, employees, team members, people in relationships, whether friendships or intimate relationships, don't really look at. And that world is the world of who I am for me and who others are for me. In other words, the world of my self-concept and the world of my concept of others, who I am for me and who others are for me. So the question of the day, again, I'll repeat, is how to unleash high-performing teams. Learn the number one secret. The first part of the secret is that the person, the team member that is most important to unleash is me or you. And the only person that can unleash you is yourself. And in the world of wanting things, and in the world of being successful, performing in life, I want you to get that we traffic in three worlds. I'll repeat them because they're critical. The first world is the world of what I want and the obstacles that are in the way. The second is the world of the people and structures, whether it's your boss, your wife, your employees, the organizational structure, the structure of the relationship you're in. There's that world of the people and the structures that are either forwarding or impeding you from getting what you want. And there's the third world we created, which is the world of my concept of me and my concept of others. Now, these three worlds matter because when it comes to unleashing teams and unleashing yourself, you must ask yourself this question. And here's the question. Which world would you say you have your intention on and your attention on the most? World number one. Indeed, world number one. So, what makes that? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just that in the world of wanting something and in the world of wanting to be a high performer, having my attention on the first world, the world of what I want, in the world of the obstacles, leave me in a trap. It leaves me working hard to get what I want, and at the same time, forever neglecting what's at the source of me possibly never being able to get what I want in life, or at least if I get it, enjoy it. So now I promise you, I'll tell you a little something about me. Let me tell you, there was this time in my life when I first left college and began working in a corporation. And my attention was dead set on the first world, the world of what I wanted and the world of the obstacles that were in the way. I wanted to make money. I wanted to be promoted, and I wanted to be seen as smart, intelligent, and a contributor. My attention was dead set on that. And in the world, folks, there is no one who was my age back then, I was 26, who would come up to you and say, you know what? I want to succeed. I want to get promoted. I want to be noticed. I want to be seen as smart, and I want to be seen as a contributor. And I'm working hard to get there. And you know what? There are so many obstacles in the way. I just got married. I don't have enough time to spend at work and spend with my family. So I'm burning the candle at both ends. Does that world sound familiar to you? That's what it looks like and what it feels like to have my attention, your attention on the first world, the world of what I want and the obstacles that are in the way. So in that world, guess what happens? High performance. What passes for high performance is all the hard work I do to get what I want. And I never realize it until somebody woke me up that in that world, that first world, my attention is never on what I now call the prize. The prize being the fulfillment of the vision, the mission of the organization which I'm serving. In that space, I'm serving no one else but me. Me. So having my attention in world number one, where I'm focusing on what I want and the obstacles that are in the way, leaves me at best a hard worker. And in that space, folks, I rarely looked at world number two from any other lens than the lens of the people and the system, so to speak, that's in the way, keeping me from getting what I want. So you got to get it in your company, in your family, In the world where you work, live, and play, human beings, you, me, others, operate this way. We are designed to have our attention on what we want and the obstacles that are in the way. And the better we get at bouncing up against those obstacles and overcoming them, we get to be for ourselves people who perform, but not high performance in the way we really want it, in the way that leaves organizations and relationships and people growing, expanding, and people being happy being there and fulfilled. So with my attention squarely on world number one, you can imagine how I related to my boss. You can imagine how I related to my peers. But I never paid attention to that. But here's how I related to them. My boss was the person with the key to getting what I wanted. He was the only one who could promote me. So how do you think I behaved and related to him? My job was to impress my boss. Nothing more, nothing less. I would work day and night. If he gave me an assignment, I would complete it as soon as possible because I wanted to impress him, even if completing that task meant sacrificing my time with my family, my well-being, and the connection I could create with my family. Yes, folks, I did a lot of that when I was young. I focused on getting what I wanted. I focused on training and developing myself, learning as much as I could learn so I could be fitter to overcome the obstacles in the way. And in the second world, I looked at the people around me, my boss, as either objects to fulfill what I want or objects to get out of the way because they're in the way of what I want. And I related to the corporation. I related to the government. I related to every structure around me as a system designed to stop me dead in my tracks from getting what I want. So can you get the sense of what it's like to live in that world? I'm not accusing you of living in it like I did, but I want you to get that the people who work with you, the people you're in relationship with, they are human beings and they live in that world. So to unleash them and coalesce them and bring them together as a team, I must first unleash myself. So learn from my mistakes. Though they were the mistakes of a teenager, guess what? I'll tell you a little secret. There are spaces and places in my life right now where I'm still that way because it's the nature of being human to focus on the results I want, the obstacles that are in the way, to relate to the people and the organizations that are present where I am as structures that either forward or impede what I want. So guess what? I'm going to fight them or I'm going to impress them. But never, ever, while I was growing up in my early career, did I ever focus on that third world we mentioned earlier, the world of my self-concept and the concept I have of others. Well, you see, what I didn't know and didn't see, but got to discover because someone else who was kind enough took me under his wing and said, I'm going to tell you a little secret. And he said, you see, Sorrel, all the hard work you're doing, all the performance you think you're demonstrating, it's nothing. See, when I look at you, I see someone who's spinning his wheels really hard, trying to get somewhere, all the while sacrificing himself in his relationships. I fought him. I said, no, this is what it looks like to be a high performer. In fact, in my self-concept, being a hard worker was a badge of honor. I work hard. No one can outwork me. I remember saying these words. You know what? When we get to the end, brother, I'll be the last one standing because no one can ever outwork me. He laughed at me. He says, that concept will never get you anywhere. That self concept will leave you in a space where all you do is work hard to prove that you're smart, to prove that you are contributing, to impress others. And then when you don't get what you want, you'll turn to be resentful and you'll leave. So guess what, folks? What I just shared with you isn't uncommon in your organizations. What I just shared with you isn't uncommon in your families, your relationships, those relationships you care about the most. What I've just shared with you isn't uncommon in the company you're building. So to unleash a high-performing team, the number one secret is to focus on the third world, your own self-concept, who you are for yourself. Focus on the third world, the concept you have of others, who others are for you. Because until you discover that, you and I, until we discover that, we are stuck in a world where all we do is work in order to get somewhere. There's a big difference between working in order to get someplace, working in order to become someone, working in order to be promoted, working in order to make more money, working in order to gain accolades and acknowledgement, working for something other than the fulfillment of a mission and a vision that I have espoused or created for myself, or that I have given the permission to take me over. My mentor shared that with me. And I said, so you mean my vision is not to grow up, get promoted, climb the ladder in the corporation, maybe someday become the CEO, even though I don't think I could ever be because of my self-concept? He says, no, that's not your job. I said, then what is my job? He says, your job is to do the following in every minute and every moment of your life. And folks, this is the number one secret he taught me. He says, when you walk into work, ask yourself, why am I here? And if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that you're there for you. You'll see that you're there for that promotion. You'll see that you're there for more money. You'll see that you're there for anything and everything that could help you. And by you, I mean, he's talking to me now. That would help me escape my self-concept. See, as much as I wanted to be smart, as much as I wanted to be a contributor, as much as I wanted to make a difference, I couldn't see back then that my entire focus was on me. So, folks, this is what I learned. It was a tough lesson. My first 3 years in corporate America were tough. I had just gotten married, and I couldn't find it within myself to spend time with my young family because I worked day and night to get somewhere. I wanted that promotion. And you know what? I fought tooth and nail. My wife would come to me and say, what you doing? Why are you working so hard? And I'd tell her, honey, you don't understand. It's a tough world out there. There are people I have to compete with. There are bosses I need to please. There are structures in the company. There's the system, you know. I'm in it. And in that system, I have to be someone who works twice as hard because that's what Haitian people and Black people do. So you can see how my self-concept served to keep everything the way people are, the way the structure and the organization was, as well as the results I was producing. Until I could wake up and discover my own self-concept, the way I am for me and who I am for me, and the way people are for me, who they are for me, I was stuck in a world working hard and mistaking high performance for all the hard work I was doing. Check it out for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Just check it out for yourself. It is in the nature of being human to be consumed by world one, the world of what I want and the obstacles that are in my way. It is in the nature of being a human being to have my hard work pass for high performance. And it is in the nature of being human to also have my focus, if I'm lucky, on world two, where I'm looking at people as ways, means to an end, the end being getting what I want and of overcoming the obstacles. Where people exist to be impressed, people exist to be manipulated, people exist to be fought against as competitors. No one, in my experience, folks, my mentor told me that, has never achieved real success until they could let go of world one, the world of the results and the obstacles, until they could discover their relationship to world two, the way they relate to people as means to an end, folks to impress, and until they, if they're lucky, discover world three and stay there, continually confronting my own concept of myself, continually confronting my own concept of what the world is, continually confronting my own concept of what others are for me, and giving myself the grace and the compassion to just let that be. And maybe focus on fulfilling the vision and the mission of the organization I choose to associate myself with. Now, if that's a relationship, maybe the vision is to be in a loving relationship. If that's a company, maybe that's a company you want where people love to work and where people can be productive and live a fulfilled life, earning a fair wage. And if you are in a corporation, maybe it is to keep that corporation being the best place to work, because corporations are only the best place to work when you make it. So, folks, the number one secret to unleashing high-performing teams is to begin right here, unleashing me as a high performer. And when I can do that, since I lead others the way I lead myself, I will have the capacity to unleash others. I'd love to hear from you. What are you not getting, but what are you discovering from this conversation? Where do you see yourself? Where has your focus been? And what are you taking away? Or what questions do you have? The floor is open. Good morning, Irma.
Good morning, Surreal. Uh, this has been quite interesting. And I have been focusing on World One. I have been thinking that I was focusing on World Three with my mission uh, for my company. I see now that I have been focusing more on World One than World Three. So what am I taking away? To focus more on World Three. Right now, I'm by myself in my business, but as I bring on people, as I um, work with people, maybe not in the company itself, but who help me, I can see where I need to really stay in World Three to make everything uh, for the business to Telestai Industries focus more on them and developing the mission statement.
I got it, Irma. I got it. Thank you for creating that. It's the thing about being focusing on World Three. It's somewhat counterintuitive. Counterintuitive in this way. Focusing on World Three is counterintuitive because to focus on World Three demands that I catch myself and hold myself accountable for being someone who's focusing on World One. So I want to string it again for me and for you and for others, because it's simple, yet it's counterintuitive. As a human being, I'm designed to focus on the results I want and the obstacles in my way. I'm also designed to be blind to the fact that I relate to the people in the organizations I work with, families, conjugal relationships, companies, churches, you name it. I relate to the people and the structures as means to an end, means to achieve my results, my accomplishments, and overcome the obstacles in the way. And what I rarely ever do is check myself to see that what's driving all of that is my concept of myself and my concept of others, which is World Three. And so the job of a leader is to continually be checking herself, himself, me checking myself to see that it is in my nature to focus on one. And it is when I discover that I have my focus on the results and the obstacles, and what passes for high performance for me is hard work and what I do to impress others and impress myself because of my self-concept, then I have the opportunity to create a vision, a mission that can supplant and surpass all of that. Michelle, go ahead.
So what I'm seeing is you look at yourself from the view of a CEO. And I remember in not performance reviews, but goal setting for the year, you would always have to say how your goals relate to the mission of the company. And everybody was like shoehorning in their goals fit with the buzzwords that needed to be in there, as opposed to really seeing how you fit as a cog in the machine and what the machine needed for you to do for the whole to be successful. Did I get that right?
Yeah. And you're recreating who I was in my early career, right out of college. I learned how to craft great self-evaluations. Self-evaluation that said the right words and all of that. And in that world for me back then, Michelle, it was still in order to get promoted, in order to this, in order to that. And there's nothing wrong with being that way. it's just never enough. You know, I did get that first promotion, but you know what? The wheel didn't stop. I had to get the next one. I did get the next promotion, but the wheel didn't stop. I had to get the next one. So while this concept, so if you own a company or you are the CEO of a very large company or the pastor of a church, and you find that your organization or your relationships tend to follow this path, where people come in and at first they work really hard, and then they begin to be disenchanted because the way people around them and the way the organization, which they believe is supposed to serve them so that they can reach their goals and overcome the obstacles in the way. And now, by the way, I'm not saying that as a leader, you don't tend to the fact that people want to be successful and to aid them and to facilitate that. I want all of us to know that the natural, the tendency that I have as a human being on teams is to operate that way. So my job is to unleash myself. And as simple as it sounds, my way to unleash myself is to discover that I have my focus, my attention, and I'm committing all my resources to the wrong thing. The wrong thing being my own achievements and my own capacity to overcome the obstacles in the way, which hides all of that, how hard work hides the relationship I have with the people around me and the organization itself. Mm-hmm. And that relationship hides and almost keeps me blind to my own self-concept and my concept of the world and my concept of others. The job of a leader is the continual discovery of that. To be human is to be in that cycle. And to be a leader is to observe that cycle. That act of observing the cycle effectively breaks it and leaves you free, because you don't have to do all that hard work. It leaves you free to create for yourself, whether you're adopting somebody else's or creating your own, a vision, a mission, inside of which you create a world for yourself that's guided by core values and guiding principles that you hold dear. And in that space, my friends, you get to work not in order to. You get to work as the fulfillment of a mission right now. Because the actions you're taking, the words you're speaking, the way you create your relationships are all driven by nothing more and nothing less than your eyes focused on that mission and your attention on when you deviate to bring yourself right back. It is in the nature of being a human being to deviate. And the work you do on a daily basis to catch yourself leaves the space clear for others to be able to catch themselves. And that's how you create and unleash a high-performing team. Folks, that's our daily huddle for the day. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. We're live on Zoom, and we're also streaming live on YouTube. You can subscribe to the Daily Huddle on YouTube at the Daily Huddle. And when you are someone who listens to one of our episodes or come in the Zoom live and spend some time with us, you will hear us say at the end of every episode that it's a good thing to love. But you know what? There's no such thing as love in my life when my focus is on World One. We say laugh out loud. There's no such thing as a genuine belly laugh when my focus is on World One and I'm relating to you as my competitor. We say eat mostly plant-based and stress less, but guess what? World One is full of stress and no time to eat. I used to eat Snicker bars. And we say, get some sleep. But you know what? It's virtually impossible. As a matter of fact, not sleeping is a badge of honor when who you are is in World One. And we say, move, get some exercise, stay healthy. It's really hard to find the time to exercise. It was hard for me to find the time to exercise when all of my attention was on my results and overcoming the obstacles. But last but not least, we always say, check yourself. And that's appropriate because for a leader to actually extricate yourself from World One and spend time on clarifying the self-concept and the concept of others requires continual of oneself. Folks, that's the Daily Huddle. It's the world of growing and expanding on an ongoing basis that you will find rather fulfilling and that I hope you'll share with another. So this is our Daily Huddle. Until Monday, have a phenomenal weekend, folks.